Hey there, thanks for joining me. This is DM Tips for Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, Chapter 3, The Wreck of Compass Rose. This is the new starter set just out by Wizards of the Coast, currently available at Target stores. Should be available in wider release shortly. The page references here are going to be to the adventure booklet. There'll be spoilers abounding here, so if you're a player, please go play the adventure and come back afterward and let us know how it went in the comments below. Okay, so this part of the adventure can happen second or third in the series of the adventure, depending on where the party decides to go from chapter 1. If you're playing this as the first encounter, it would be for level 1 characters, and as the second for level 2 characters. When I ran it, my players went to this first. They played this at level 1, and it went pretty well. Maybe slightly easy. We'll talk about that as I go through this here. The campaign should take you roughly 3-4 hour sessions. So the Wreck of the Compass Rose could either be the last half of session 1 or all of session 2, depending on what order you play it in. This is how I would do it if it was session 2. So character intros, research, Cloister quests, all taking place at Dragon's Rest. Then another encounter of zombie resurgence and or additional encounters in their travel to the shipwreck. In Cloister quests on page 12, you'll find how the adventure is introduced to them. You'll find that ships are wrecking out there on the rocks amongst the dragon bones, and there is some concern that this very old shipwreck is at the center of all the shipwrecks, and maybe there's something there the party could find out that's causing the additional shipwrecks. So then, when the party arrives, hopefully before the halfway point of your session, you can do the exploring the shipwreck, which will take you an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then when they return, after being victorious, you can do the Lost Wyrmling, which introduces the final chapter, if you're doing this second. So let's take a look at sounds. For this one, I'm using Quiet Cove by Tabletop Audio. And when the actual encounters with the undead begin, you could go into Drowned Sailors. And Drowned Sailors is available upon Tabletop Audio's website for everyone. And I imagine they might put out one for the Cursed Shipwreck here pretty soon, so check back here later and see if they have that specifically for the shipwreck encounter. For the map of the adventure, of course, once it's out on electronic format, you can get it there. You can take a picture of it. In this case, I grabbed it off of this tweet by Mike Schley, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. All right, what kind of special tokens might you have? Well, there's nothing specific for this part of the adventure, but you'll have, of course, zombies, ghouls, and harpies. You want to get them ready to go. For images, there's just one for the adventure that has to do with this one. And I'll show you that. Really cool when the party gets down to the lower hold and they start facing the undead. For knowledge of this part of the adventure, there's 2 locations. We have area C6, where the party, those who are perceptive, could spot a floorboard in the middle of the room that's raised slightly above its neighbors. And then after the party has the letter that they find in the chest that's down in the hold, and they read the letter, it introduces a being called Orcus, and you could let a character who knows about Orcus share that information, someone good in religion. You can share this additional information with them, whisper it to them, and they can share it in character about who Orcus is. All right, let's look at the adventure in detail now. So the party will arrive here on the main level. They can climb up this rigging here onto the main deck. When they explore the main deck, they could knock this wheel loose and onto the deck, and if they do, then these zombies will hear it and will start trying to get out of this door. But the door is somehow locked or stuck, and so they don't make it out of there. Party can come in and fight those zombies. When I ran this one, the party also in this lower room in C5 saw the skeleton there with the head missing, and I actually added that to the combat because the combat was versus 2 zombies was pretty easy. So I added that, had the skeleton into the combat. It was pretty fun addition there, so I'd recommend doing that for sure. Okay, then they can explore the rest of the upper level. In C6, they'll see a picture that, gives them a hint to what they're going to find in the letter that's in the chest down below. When they get to the lower deck, you got the zombie down there, got a ghoul down there. Pretty easy fight here. You could add another zombie and maybe another ghoul, but that might be pushing it. But another zombie, definitely. If you're not sure it's going to go well for them, you could have that zombie come out later, following around if they're doing good. And then finally, down in the hold, this is where they'll find a chest. They can get the letter. They can find out how they can put the curse to rest by basically taking the talisman and either burning it up. And the player asked if they could know if burning it up would work or not. I gave them a religion check to know for sure if it'd be okay or not. They made it, so they knew it would be. If not, they can follow the directions in the letter and return the talisman back to Dragon's Rest, find out where this lady's husband was buried, and go to the grave and put the talisman there. and that'll end the curse for them. When they're down here and they're finding the chest or they're reading through it and maybe they're learning about Orcus, they hear the thud up above as the first Harpy returns. So the Harpy fight goes pretty easy because Harpies, turns out, their luring song is only an 11 wisdom save, so not too hard for the party to make, and you get to repeat the save every turn. So it ends pretty quick, and the Harpy went down really fast. I actually brought the mate for the Harpy, or second Harpy, into the fight, and they still didn't have too hard a time doing that. So I wouldn't start with 2 Harpies, but definitely be ready to bring another one if it's just going really easy for them. And that's that part of the adventure. When it's done, they can, of course, return back to Dragon's Rest. You can have them, if you're running really fast, put some of the additional encounters into the adventure, run across that, and then if it's the last part of the adventure before the conclusion, which is the Clifftop Observatory, you can tell them about the Lost Wyrmling and introduce the dragon form of Runara. And that is it. I'll be posting the Clifftop Observatory DM tips here, and later this week, we're going to play our second session of the starter set tomorrow, and that'll be the Seagrow Caves. They did it out of Orca set. If I was running this again, I think I'd keep it this order. I think the Wreck of the Compass Rose actually works better being the second part of the adventure, and the Caves third, just from how the various additional encounters will work. So either way is good, and either way gives the party some options. Good luck, and let me know how it goes for you.